Shalom, this is Yair speaking to you from the land of Israel. Today we are about to discuss the Lost 10 Tribes, as we usually do, and we are going to concentrate on one aspect of the Lost 10 Tribes, the biblical proofs concerning the Lost 10 Tribes. We have numerous proofs. We show that the Lost 10 Tribes are now to be found amongst Western peoples. They are to be found amongst Western nations, such as Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, the Netherlands, France, Belgium, Switzerland, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and the offshoots of the British in the USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and so on. That is where the Lost 10 Tribes are to be found. We do not say that everyone in those areas belongs to the Lost 10 Tribes. We say that is where the Lost 10 Tribes are to be found. That's where they gave expression to themselves according to the Bible, according to history. Lost 10 Tribes are to be found in Western nations. That is what the Bible says. That is what history says. That is what our researchers show us. And we have proven this. We've proven this from the Bible. We've proven it from secular sources and rabbinical sources, and from every field of information that has something relevant to say on the subject. We have brought proofs and evidence proving that the Lost 10 Tribes are in those areas. At least that is where they are in a predominant sense. That's where historically and according to the Bible they gave expression to whom they are. And the Bible proofs that we have concerning them include the following. The Lost 10 Tribes were destined to become one of the most numerous groups of peoples on earth. See this in Genesis 15:5, Genesis 22:17, Genesis 24:60, Genesis 32:12, Numbers 23:10, Deuteronomy 1:11, Isaiah 10:22, 24:16, 26:15, Hosea 1:10. They were also to be the most powerful nations of the earth. See Genesis 27:9. Numbers 24:7, Micah 7-9, and other similar verses. They're also to be the most richest, the most wealthy, to possess the most mineral and agricultural resources. See Genesis 27:28, 49:5, Deuteronomy 33:13-16, Hosea 2:8. Hosea 2:8. They were also destined to live in the best places of the earth. See Isaiah 41:8-9, to be in islands. Isaiah 42:4, Isaiah 49:1-6, Jeremiah 31:9-10. They would live in peninsulas. See Jeremiah 31:8, and at the continental extremities, at the ends of the earth. That is places such as Australia, New Zealand, the British Isles, Scandinavia, North America. They literally speaking are the ends of the earth. South Africa also has many from Lost 10 Tribes amongst it. They are at the ends of the earth. And these are the areas where we find most of the Lost 10 Tribes to be. And this is what was prophesied concerning them. See Deuteronomy 33:13, Isaiah 24:16, 26:15, 41:8-9, 49:6. They were to be seafarers. See Isaiah 42:6. They were to gain control over strategic points regarding their strategic adversaries. They were to possess the gates of the enemies, and the gates, that is the entranceways, the strategic areas, points of ingress and egress of those who were hostile to them. This is what was prophesied, and this is what we find. We find the British and the USA after them do possess strategic bases and points of control over most of the earth, in most regions of the earth. And this is what they have done throughout their history. This is what they were concentrated on doing, and they're known for it. This is one of their characteristics. This is an identifying characteristic of them. See Genesis 22:16-17 and Genesis 24:60. They were to be like a lion and a unicorn. See Numbers 24:8-9. They have a bald-headed eagle. Micah 1-16. They were also to be largely unaware of the Israelite identity and to practice a non-Jewish religion. See Isaiah 2:8, 2:13, 2:16, 11:12. And for Judah would not know who the Lost 10 Tribes are at first. See Isaiah 49:21. And we have numerous other identifying characteristics that they can only all together as one whole fit peoples amongst the Western nations. So there's the nations that originated in Western Europe and since then have spread out. And we've gone to North America, gone to South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, but they all belong to one ethnic continuum. So this is what we have. So amongst the proofs that we brought, we noticed that one of them, that they were to be a large number of people. That a large number of people was to be a characteristic of them. The tribes of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh would receive a special portion of the blessings. It says, Genesis 49:6, the blessings of your father prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors unto the utmost bounds of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of him that was separated from his brethren. So how does this blessing, how does it correspond with present reality? We identify the tribes of Joseph as English-speaking people. So taking together the populations of such nations of English-speaking peoples, we have the following. We get almost 500 million people. We have 329 inhabitants of the USA at least, UK 67.5 million, Canada 37.5 million, Australia 25,200,000, New Zealand 4,780,000, almost 5 million, whites in South Africa 4.5 million, and other such places. This gives us about 466 million, according to figures from a few years ago, which has undoubtedly increased. And there are others in other areas which we add all together. We almost get to 500 million people pertaining to areas that historically and according to the Bible pertain to the tribes of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh. So as we have said frequently and repeated over and over again, we never said that everyone in those areas is descended from lost 10 tribes of Israel. But we do say that the lost 10 tribes of Israel are there. And they stands to reason that they are a substantial proportion of the population, or a significant part of it at least, because historically they did help determine the national characteristics of those areas, and that is where they were prophesied that they would be. And they were prophesied to be extremely numerous, so there could be a good portion of the peoples in those areas, and at least they are there. So this fits in with the blessing that they would be extremely populous, a great number of people, numbering in the millions, in the hundreds of millions, or maybe in the thousands of millions, according to the prophecies, according to the Bible. Now, these prophecies may yet come to pass in the future in their full sense, but even now, a portion of them have been realized, and this corresponds with the reality and it corresponds with the Bible, as we shall show you. There's a prophecy concerning Ephraim and Manasseh in the words of the Bible, in the words of Moses, Deuteronomy 33:17, he says, and they are the 10 millions of Ephraim together with the thousands of Manasseh. And that is how it should be translated. But in effect, all it says, as the most translations say, are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh. So we have this prophecy in the Bible by Moses, referring to the 10,000s of Ephraim in the future and the thousands of Manasseh. And this word used for 10,000s is revavah. So we want to say, or we, not only we great authorities, say that this word revavah actually means tens of millions, or hundreds of millions, or thousands of millions. It does not mean just 10,000s, as it is often translated. So this is a good point. And there are other points in addition to this. In Hebrew, like other languages, you have your units. You have one. One is ahad in Hebrew. Eser is 10. 1, 10. 100. Maya is 100. Elef is 1,000. Rib is 10,000. Then we have another word, revavah. Revavah is often taken to be considered as a poetical form of rebo. A fancy way of saying rebo 10,000 is revavah, according to this opinion. But actually not so. It seems that revavah is actually a progression. It is one up from rebo. 10,000 is one unit above 10,000. Revava therefore means 100,000, and according to other opinions 500,000, or 1,000,000. And in some places of the Bible, this is how it has been interpreted, or translated by the King James Bible. We find in the blessing to Rebekah, the mother of Israel, it says, and they were blessed Rebekah and said unto her, you are our sister, be you the mother of thousands, of tens of thousands, and let your seed possess the gates of those which hate them. In the King James Version it says thousands of millions, because the word used is Revavot, and Revavot can in effect mean that. It can mean thousands of thousands. So thousands of thousands of thousands means thousands of millions, and this is a blessing given to Rebekah, who was the mother, who was the foremother of the Israelite tribes. She was the mother of Jacob, who was renamed Israel, who gave birth to the 12 tribes of Israel. So here we have this blessing, Revava. Moses in Deuteronomy 1:11 says, may the Lord, the God of your fathers, increase you 1,000-fold more than you are, and bless you just as he has promised you. So Moses promised the children of Israel, bless them, that they should be increased 1,000-fold. At that time there were 600,000 males between the ages of 20 to 60, together with their wives and children. There was a few million at the least, and they were promised that they would be increased 1,000 times over, as is pointed out by Colbert Bryan, a friend of ours and a good supporter of ours, with whom we have lost contact. But he was an important person and had insights and this is one of his insights, and it is correct. Rebekah was blessed to become the mother of thousands of millions, and this is inconsistent with the blessing that Moses gave to the children of Israel. Now this word Revava. So Rabbi M. Schlanger, shifting the Haloteka book on the tribes of Israel, not the 10 tribes, not so much the 10 tribes, but different tribes of Israel, different characteristics of the tribes, and he discusses this with Revava, and he shows that it means increase, unlimited increase, as a spontaneous generation, as if to say, increasing over and over again, not limited in numbers. And he interprets the blessing, the words, where we find after David killed Goliath, he became a captain in the army of King Saul, and he went out and killed the enemies of Israel. And the women used to sing about him, and Saul overheard them singing. And they used to sing, and they said, David has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s. And Saul was very angry, and the saying displeased him. And he said, they've ascribed to David 10,000s, and to me they've ascribed only thousands. Now what more can he have? But the kingdom, so Saul became king. David, jealous of David, because he thought they had ascribed to David a greater number than him. So actually, according to the laws of cantillation, of how these verses are chanted in Hebrew, which also have grammatical implications, what the women were saying is the women were saying that both Saul and David had killed thousands and tens of thousands. And so there was as if a progression that was saying Saul has killed thousands and David 10,000s. They're actually meant to say, or can be understood as saying, that Saul and David have together killed thousands or tens of thousands. Or another way of saying it is that it's true that Saul had killed thousands, but through Saul having killed thousands, David was unable to kill tens of thousands. At all events, it was not so detrimental to Saul as wanted, or it was inclined to interpret it, and as we could understand according to the simple meaning. So this is another point. Rabbi M. Schlanger has pointed out that the word that they use here, Ravavot, ascribing concerning David, it comes from a root, Rabav, or Rabav, or Rabab. It's the same word using the same letters, but it depends how you pronounce them. But at all events, Rabbi Schlanger points out that it means limitation, whereas Elef, the word for thousands, has a limited number. The word Ravavot actually means unlimited increase, going up and up and up without any border. So that he wanted to say that the women were actually, or in a prophetic sense, that were referring to the differences between the kingdom of Saul and the kingdom of David. Saul was as if to say a type of limited type of rulership with set for a set task within boundaries, whereas David was an absolute monarch without boundaries. So there's different types of authority to be ascribed to them, and this is what the women were intending, or this was what the real intention of what the women were saying, even though the women were just saying this through inspiration. They weren't necessarily aware of the connotations of what they said. So this is another point. At all events, we have this word, rababa, which can mean not necessarily 10,000s, but a multiplication of 10,000s. We have had 1, esa 10, mea 100, elef 1,000, rebo 10,000, rababa, a multiplication of rebo of 10,000. In other words, 100,000 or 500,000 or 1,000,000. And there were commentaries who understood it this way, and it does correspond, it is compatible with other biblical passages on this matter.